Horeb, the prophet took a long while to get to the Holy Mount, and he was alone, facing his king and his Maker. The Lord passed. There were phenomena. Non in commotione Dominus, but the Lord was not in the commotion, in the earthquake, nor in the strong wind or the fire. But something moved in the stillness that followed. The translation of the Hebrew is difficult. La voix d'une brise légère, the voice of a light breeze. And after the fire, a light murmuring sound. The version that has come down to us in the Old English is a still, small voice that has been maintained in the RSV. The Hebrew is very concrete, as always. Call is voice, but it can also mean sound. The mamach, the kach, of a stillness which was light. Vox aure tenuis. This tenuis, it's hardly perceptible, thin, faint. And that is how it is with our God. If we are in earthquake mode, we cannot pick up his noise, which is very thin and delicate. He is not the voice of noise and commotion. And so in our innings on earth we have a choice. Will we be in commotion or in reception? For if we are always in blustery mode, the chances are that we will not pick up that voice. We can't get through. And so we have a choice. If we will put on a machine which also excludes the stillness, even the choice of going out of a solitary place, of going into communication with emitters of noise, noisy people, is something which in causa is a choice with heavy consequences. And so it is in the Gospel. If we choose to have in our mind something that we have voluntarily allowed to go in there, in causa we are always yet before the event responsible in the first instance. The Gospel is quite clear. It is better to go to hell with one eye than to have the two and not be saved. He is in Hebrew mode quite clearly inviting us to gouge out that occasion of sin, which is precisely the abuse of our vision. That applies to all our faculties. We take in things with the ear, we take in things with the eye. And so it is that both with regard to allowing an emitter of noise and a canceller of silence to be switched on. So it is also that we are responsible for the kind of message that we allow to come into ourselves. What comes in stealthily, but is there to stay. Rather like the virus in our time, it's now there to stay. We've got it. It would have been simpler had it been stopped earlier. But so it is with what comes into the imagination. We might have to wrestle for years with something which didn't have to come in. Beginnings check and consequences follow. And so, in the context that the Lord has here, with regard to holy purity and matrimony, it matters whether virtual infidelity comes in. Now, even marriages that hold together physically are no longer together spiritually, because one or the other might be in a virtual infidelity, looking at others too intimately in the privacy of their laptop or whatever it might be. Beginnings check and consequences follow. Because in the end, a woman will pick things up, and vice versa quite often. Having said that, the Lord is inviting to not going too easily to the option of separation. Quite often, one can save a rocky marriage. The very fact that a couple is still willing to talk about something means that there's communication there still, especially if they're willing to make the effort to come to a third party and dialogue openly. Once they go apart, then that also is an occasion to meeting someone else and getting into a situation which the Lord calls adulterous. And that blocks the soul from sacramental life, which is precisely what the enemy of the soul wants. We presume too easily that marriages are over. There's an old saying in Welsh, "Hawdd cynnau tân ar hen aelwyd." Easy to light a fire on an old hearth. One can sometimes just break up the embers that might not be quite dead entirely. The first spark, they were once in love. They had all those memories, those love letters, those encounters. They will not be the same again with anybody else. The memories shared in early days are not the same when one tries to live again without grace or blessing the same adventure. We are not meant to be shopping around from one soul and body to another. Some areas are too close to God to be made profane. There is a total giving in marriage which is irreversible, irrepeatable. That, perhaps, could be saved yet. Because true marriages are often rocky, but others don't know about it. And they survive, especially if God is in the midst, and if there is listening. The same actually can apply to monastic communities. If communication breaks down, other things come in. And there can be a virtual infidelity there as well. Fellowship is not found in the brotherhood, so it is looked for elsewhere. Horeb could be for us a chapel, an alcove, a place where we've been before, where we've heard the Lord's voice. I remember in school days, on a Sunday, after morning service in chapel, I would regularly go on my bicycle up to a quiet spot on a hill in the country, and under a tree read the New Testament. And it was a place where the voice, as it were, had been heard, and one willingly came back. And also the very Bible that one might have had can be, as it were, a locus. Graces have been there before and come out. A tabernacle, even a bedroom, a place where we met and heard our God before, could be Horeb. We need to structure our day to make sure that we have Horeb. Otherwise, we won't hear the still, small voice. Of the still years of quietness, till all our striving cease. Take from our souls the strain and stress, and let our dead lives confess the beauty of thy peace, the beauty of thy peace. Breathe through the heats of our desire, thy goodness and thy love. And send speed on, let flesh retire, speak through the earthquake, wind and fire, still small voice of God.